I guess we're back.
We are. We are 2025 season 75th.
Yay.
What do you call it? 75 years of F1 racing. That's exciting.
Oh, wow, I didn't
That's
know that.
exciting.
How many years?
Yeah, 75.
75.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
That's
Yeah,
why
I
they
did
did
see that
the
actually.
whole big reveal thing with all the
Ah,
teams.
okay, makes
Yeah,
sense.
and Jack Whitehall.
Well, listen, just for some clarity, I've been ill, so I'm just now getting, you know what I mean, getting with it. Um, yeah, I'm
There's
kind
something
of,
going around.
yeah, it's
Hmm.
crazy. So I'm getting to it, but yeah, I'm just getting better now,
Good.
and yeah. Do you want to get straight to it? I don't know where we start. Do you want to start? Do we
Well,
just get straight to it, or what do you want to do?
well, we can talk about the fact that, we've done this before. This is not our
Hmm.
first, foray into this.
Hmm.
Um, but now things are getting a little exciting. I mean, there's
Yeah, for
a lot
sure.
of changes, and yeah, I think it's a good time to jump back in,
Yeah.
get some thoughts
Party
out.
time. Hmm.
Yeah, because I'm excited. I'm really. Have you seen this many changes in one season
Is
to
you
the
know what?
lineup?
I'm paying the most attention now, and that's probably because it feels the most fresh. It feels the most in a long time. It feels like, oh, anything can happen.
I know.
It feels like anything can like. Well, we'll see after the first race, innit? But it feels, yeah, it feels like okay, here we go. Anything can happen, and also, I don't think there's been a Lewis Hamilton to Ferrari-esque moment in a very long time.
No,
So, so
not at
yeah,
all.
yeah.
I was really feeling that. I was really feeling the reveal. I was really feeling, the first visit. Um,
Hmm.
that, was very impactful as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Uh, Seeing that spark come back, I loved that.
Hmm.
Kind of the gleam, you know what I mean, in his eye. I don't recall the last time I saw that. So that was
Yeah.
refreshing.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
so yeah, that was exciting.
All right, let's just get to it because I feel we're
I
just,
know.
I feel we're just like, yo, we're pump faking right now. It's like, okay, so
Yeah,
where do
for
we
real.
start? Where
Yeah.
do we start? Do you want to start and just, or should I just start and start word vomit and stuff?
Yes. Let's start with the word vomit. Then we can get
Okay.
technical. Yeah.
Well, all right, cool. So qualified has just been done,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, Lando Norris followed by Piastri.
Yep.
Um, I don't know who came third. Was it Verstappen?
I can't remember because I'm gonna be honest. I fell asleep on qualifying. I watched it this morning while I was getting
Okay.
ready for everything. So I'm
No,
kind of
it's all
like,
good.
I was.
No, pull it up. It's all good.
Another thing. Hold on. I wasn't gonna bring this up, but I don't know if it's my TV or if it's just the F1 app. Like I pay, okay, for the pro
Mm,
plan,
okay.
correct? It's a little expensive, but I do it
Wait, pro plan for what?
for F1 TV because that's how like I have to
Oh,
watch the races and all the qualifying events. Like it's
uh-huh.
like a curated space for everything. If
Uh-huh.
I'm watching it on my phone, it's fine. It hardly ever cuts out. But if I'm watching it on my TV, it always gives me this error message like 20 minutes in. And it's so freaking annoying. During
That's
the
crazy.
lives, it's not as bad because I just you restart it. But if I'm
Mhm.
watching the playback, it starts again from the the beginning of the broadcast.
Oh my gosh.
It's a nightmare. But just a little thorn in my side. I got to figure out if it's my TV or what. I've plugged it out. I've done all the things that they say to do, and nothing's
That's
worked.
crazy.
So and it's the big TV that it happens to too. So that's annoying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that sucks. But yeah, no, the reason I'm laughing at the qualifying is because Red Bull signed a guy called Liam Lawson. I should I just think it's not funny that they signed Liam Lawson. Shout out Liam Lawson.
Yes, exactly.
But if you look at the top five, you might see a guy named Yuki Tsunoda, and I've always been a big fan of Yuki Tsunoda. I think ever since they introduced him on Drive to Survive, and he was
Exactly.
talking about his car, and like it's just his personality. He's a real kind of like he's just a fun, vibey kind of guy. It's like
I
he's
agree.
funny but in an unapologetic, like in a kind of accidental way. And
I
so
agree.
when I heard about him potentially going to Red Bull, I was like, let's go, Yuki. Do you know what I mean?
I
It
know.
would have been a fiery Red Bull team, but they were like, no, we're going for Liam Lawson. And I was like, okay, why? But okay. And now, yeah, Liam Lawson, I think, didn't qualify for Q2, and Yuki Tsunoda is like, yeah, I think fourth in a
Yeah,
second in Red Bull team, which is interesting. I also think Hamilton, I'm happy he's just right there behind Leclerc, but I do also think, yeah, man, him spinning in Q2 was like not great, and um, he's got so much. Even people that don't support Lewis Hamilton like that are rooting for him. So
that is true. I agree.
there's so much going on. Williams, what the hell? Yeah, yeah,
But really
yeah.
and truly,
Hmm?
what are you really surprised by the qualifying run for
For who?
Australia? Think about it.
For who?
For like Lando, I'm not surprised. And I mean, if Lando is qualifying, in P1, then
Yeah,
Oscar, it look a
yeah,
little weird if he was anywhere below like P5, if I'm gonna be
yeah,
honest.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
And Max coming up on number 3. It's pretty,
Yeah, predictable.
which it kind of makes me wonder though, Red Bull, what's going on there? Is it the
How do you mean?
car? But are we saying that McLaren just has that much better of a car this year? Is that what we're saying? Well, I mean, it's only qualifying. We
It's
haven't
only
even had a first.
qualifying.
So yeah,
It's only qualifying. These are great race drivers as well, like Lando Norris, Max Verstappen,
I
um,
agree.
and also Oscar Piastri. I think at this point they're used to the cars. Obviously, there's
Hmm.
been changes, but last season they were leading the pack for a reason. Not only because they're good racing drivers, but
Thoughts?
they're in strong cars. Um, and I feel like what did they say? They said there's only like two teams that haven't changed their racing lineup.
It's
Their
just
team.
two.
I think so. I think it's McLaren and there's one other. I think,
Huh.
or
See
maybe it's
here.
just one. I'm trying to think.
Yeah, because, well, not what was it last year? Racing Red Bulls was
Yeah, I can't remember.
good Lord. They changed the name and we just completely forget
Everything.
about what the
Yeah,
name was.
it's like forget about him. Alpha,
Oh my gosh.
not
Yeah,
AlphaTauri.
but AlphaTauri. But yeah,
Is it AlphaTauri?
AlphaTauri last year that was Pierre and Yuki, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, and now it's Isaac and Yuki. So I feel like every
every
Lance
team has
Stroll,
changed.
every change, yeah,
No, that's it. It's Alonso and Lance Stroll.
yeah,
Aston Martin and McLaren are the only
and
two teams that
McLaren,
haven't changed
yeah,
their drivers around. Um, and Max Verstappen's always kind of always been a one man. You know what I mean?
pretty much
Um, so I bring that up to say the fact that they've started this new season and they're kind of like hitting, you know what I mean? I mean, in qualifying Q3 and kind of leading the pack, it's like,
par for the
yeah,
course.
yeah, the world champion last year was still up front, and the construction championship winners are also leading the pack. Yeah, no, not surprised, but I will say it does feel like the field will be a lot closer this year.
Yes.
And I'm looking forward to especially like Lewis Hamilton, and Leclerc
Hmm.
finding their, do you know what I mean, finding their rhythm. Um, and yeah, man, I'm tired of seeing what, you know what I mean. You watch five races and then you're like, okay, I know where this season's gonna go. Like I want to see
Exactly.
competitive. I want to see something competitive and
Title fight.
yeah, something exciting. So it
Mm,
feels like we will have that, I think, especially with
I think
Williams
so.
and Ferrari and yeah,
I'm
this
pretty
new Red
confident.
Bull team. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident. I mean, I like numbers, and I like my favorite number is eight. And,
Okay.
so the fact that he qualified P8,
Mm-hmm.
a little, for me, I've seen him come back from worse.
Exactly. Now, yeah, if we're
So,
going off last season as well, Lewis Hamilton in qualifying was the most exciting thing to watch.
exactly. So I'm fairly confident, even if, things might not go right in the first half of the season, that we'll, see some changes. And
Hmm.
that's the thing, right? My gripe the last few seasons with Mercedes was the fact that he called out the issues. He was very
Mm.
specific of what the issues were with the car.
Yeah.
Before the whole thing, before porpoising became, a word, like
Yeah, yeah.
he was talking, they were both talking about the fact that this car was bouncing around on the track. And
Mm.
the response was kind of like, we know what we're doing, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
So I feel like in this situation, they might be a lot more open to what he's saying and his analysis of what the car is doing. And we might
Yeah.
get resolutions, like whatever small changes they can make. I mean, there's not much you can do after the car is developed to get around the rules, but whatever changes they can make within the ever-changing rules of the FIA,
Mm.
we might
Yeah.
see some positive outcomes, I think.
Yeah, F1's unpredictable though.
Yep.
If seasons prior is anything to go by, hella unpredictable. And also Ferrari is unpredictable. Like, I don't think Ferrari is the best team
Facts.
yeah, I mean, if we're going off like track record, no pun intended, but like
Facts. I don't
teams to
think they know
go
what
to,
they're doing.
yeah. You sure you want to go to Ferrari if you want to have more constructive or less constructive problems? Um, but no, Ferrari's a legendary team, so yeah.
Am I
Say again?
bugging? Sometimes I'm looking at them like, what the hell are they doing? Am
Yeah,
I
yep,
crazy? Or
yep.
is this happening?
There's a look at like if you just go last season, look at like Leclerc's radio messages, him being angry at like Ferrari or frustrated when they've let him stay out, or it's just how many
Exactly.
pit stop problems they had. It was a mess. Um, yeah, Ferrari's a bit of a mad place. But I think that the I was saying to my boy earlier, I was like, with the publicity of Lewis Hamilton joining Ferrari,
Mhm.
yeah, I think it's a lot of pressure to get it right.
It is. It's huge because
Yeah.
now you really have to think about the fact that you have the most famous F1 driver in the world
Hmm.
on your team. You're
Yep.
also one of the most lauded
Hmm.
F1 franchises in history.
Yep.
What are you gonna do?
Pressure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
But yeah, real quick, what was your thoughts on like qualifying as a whole? From what you was
Um,
able to see, or even just looking at the
I'm
the
looking at the
qualifying.
standings right now, and if I'm being quite honest, I'm not entirely surprised. I'm just honestly, I'm not. I think
You pull it
mm,
up as well.
think well, if I'm gonna be honest, I kind of expected Kimmy to qualify a little higher.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
another
I
thing.
I definitely expected Kimmy to qualify a lot higher than Lance.
Hmm.
I'm not trying to slander Lance Stroll or nothing.
Yeah.
We know he's had some problems. Um, yeah, I definitely expected that. I think Fernando for me is also a little low, which makes me kind of side eye Aston Martin a little bit,
Hmm.
just a tiny little bit. because if he's qualifying right before Stroll, that's a little concerning. Uh,
Yeah.
um, but for the most part, I think it's yeah. Well, Carlos is a well, it's a Williams. What? Wait. No, I didn't watch
Still
the
said
entire
Williams.
thing.
Yeah.
Why did Carlos qualify 10th and Alexander qualify? I'm calling him Alexander. If y'all don't know my kid's name, it's Alexandria. So I'm really
Okay.
attached to Alex. But why is Alexander so far ahead of Carlos? I'm not slandering Alexander or anything, guys. I'm just saying.
Well,
Was
to be
there an
honest,
issue with the car?
um, I can't remember exactly what happened, but I think there was something to do with um traffic potentially. I gotta watch it back. There might have been
Mm,
something to do with like traffic or Carlos Sainz not getting a clean run. But
that would
Alex
explain a lot.
Albon, Alex Albon's been with Williams for a little while longer, so
Yeah,
and Carlos Sainz even though Carlos Sainz is an incredible driver, he's learning the car still. So
very
I wouldn't
true.
expect him to, do you know what I mean, be destroying Alexander Albon at the moment.
This is true.
Um, but Williams as a whole is looking impressive. I think Ferrari will will probably be racing against the Williams before they're racing against the McLarens and the Red Bulls.
You are very right.
Um, yeah, Mercedes, I can't really tell. We'll see. We'll see. Obviously, we haven't got to the race yet, but you never quite know where Mercedes are. Like, are
You
Mercedes
don't.
up there with McLarens and Red Bulls, or is it like, is it Ferrari and Mercedes, or is it? I don't know.
And therein
Um,
lies the problem, folks. You never know.
mhm.
That's literally the problem. Is because you
Yeah,
from race to race, you can never judge. Are we gonna be up front or are we gonna be in the middle? Like, or are we just gonna be completely in the back, like with
yeah,
DNFs? You just it's too unpredictable. I think I love Toto. I do. But I think fundamentally there are issues with the design of the car that I think they're not willing to acknowledge and or address. And that's part of the problem. But
yeah.
I don't know. I can't say he doesn't care, but because I know he has to.
Also,
He has to care.
they're changing the whole regulation. The cars are different next year, so it's like, yeah. Um, I feel a lot of people, a lot of teams are kind of like, yeah, we'll just. I don't know who was talking about. Maybe Albon was talking about this because he was talking about them focusing on next year's car.
Uh-huh.
Um, every team's focused on next year's car,
Pretty much.
but yeah, I think if anything, Mercedes are giving are doing the same thing as a lot of these other teams. They're kind of like, yeah, let's just stick to what we've known, just try and get balance, and try and have a car that's predictable.
But they've
And
been
then
sticking to what they know for quite some time, and it's not
yeah,
working.
but you know what's worse though? When they change things and it gets even worse.
This is very true.
So I think, yeah, and they know they get a lot more money if they can win the constructors or get a certain amount of points, and that obviously help. All the money helps in it. So with investors, rather than trying to win it all. Um,
This is very true.
yeah, so I think that's kind of where they are. You were saying something about Kimi Antonelli surprising you. Why did
Um,
his 16th position surprise you? What is he?
well,
12, 16?
a little biased because I'm a little bit of a Kennedy fan. I've
Okay.
liked him for quite some time. I think the first time I kind of got a whiff was maybe probably around 3, 4 years ago. Like something
Okay.
popped up on my Instagram. I was like, "Who is this cute little kid?" And went in, and I was like, "Oh, he seems like a nice young man."
hmm
And I kind of did a little bit of research and I realized that he was actually a good driver. And then when it came up that Mercedes might sign him, I was actually excited.
Yeah.
I kind of knew, like in the back of my head, I was like, they're gonna sign him, and that means, they're gonna want him in the
Mm.
line eventually. Like, what's going on? I think
Yeah.
that's when I started, like, realizing that there might be a huge change coming. And I think I kind
Yeah.
of was thinking about it a lot earlier than it hit the news cycle. So when it did, I
Yeah.
wasn't as shocked as everybody else. I was kind of like, oh, it makes sense.
Mm.
Because why wouldn't you want to go to Ferrari? I know he's been saying all along before that. that it's not a thought that he was actively entertaining. But people say crap like that to the media all the time, so I didn't expect that he wasn't actually entertaining. Who wouldn't entertain the thought of driving for Ferrari? Like, come on.
Yeah. 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 I
So
mean, sorry, you're going.
it's not shocking that they sign him. Um, I think I expect maybe probably a little bit too much, considering he's so young and it's a lot. It's a lot of pressure, but
Yeah.
lesser folks have risen to the occasion. So I
Yeah.
I'm a little apprehensive in saying that he won't do well because I think he will.
Mm.
I think he'll do quite well.
I think he'll do well too. But well, what I will say actually is I respect Lewis Hamilton a lot because when I didn't understand for a long time why Lewis Hamilton would like not wait until the end of the season before announcing his move to Ferrari.
Hmm.
It's
Hmm.
like, why do that in the beginning of the season and then
Yeah.
have that weighing over your shoulder the whole time, especially whilst we're going through the season and Carlos Sainz is killing it, and then Ferrari
Yeah.
are looking crazy for letting him go.
Let him
Uh,
go.
It's just insane, and he's having an amazing. So I was like, this doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense. But now I'm like, actually, it's a
Uh,
really kind of like generous thing to do because you've given Kimi Antonelli a real long time to kind of get
exactly.
used to
Comfortable.
it and a nice buffer and so on and so forth. And so now he's going into it's like yeah, that was like a real yeah, it's a real Lewis Hamilton-esque thing to do.
I agree.
But anyway, what do I think of Kimi Antonelli? Remember that time he drove when I think it was like what was it, qualifying? Or some, I don't know what it was. It was like practice or something like that. And Kimi like was had a really great time, but then he crashed into a wall or something. Do
Yeah,
you
I
remember
do.
that? I was like, okay, cool. He's got a lot of and even listening to him speak in interviews and stuff, you can tell he's got a lot of like heart and confidence and belief
Hmm.
in himself. And I think that's great. But I think it's similar to the Yuki Tsunoda thing. Do you know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
he's
A
going
lot of
to
passion.
yeah, he's probably gonna have a lot of mishaps earlier on before he finds his feet and then it starts creating creating some noise. But you never know. I mean, he's starting in 16th. Let's see what he does with the race tomorrow.
Yeah.
Also in the rain, because that's where if it's yeah, I think it's definitely gonna rain tomorrow. So if he's able to maneuver that well, um, then we've got someone that's really someone to look out for. And also, who's Isaac Hedger? You know what I mean? People were like ignoring this Isaac Hedger guy. There's an interview that F1 did with all the rookies,
Hmm.
and, and you hear them talking about each other, and they're like, "Yeah, I remember when it was in F2, and or the first time I saw you in F2, and you were really fast." And Bortolotto's talking to, do you know what I mean, Behrman, and so on and so forth. And then you realize, oh, I understand why these guys are in Formula One now.
Yeah,
Um, they've all got something about them. Um,
exactly.
and I'm excited to see what Isaac Hedjar does because he started. I think did he qualify Q3 or no, it's Q2. I think it's like 11th, no?
11th. Yeah.
Yeah, 11th.
Yeah.
Um, which is impressive. It's your
It
first
is.
Grand Prix. You know what I mean? Your first time in F1, and you're starting in yeah P11. It's no small feat in that
I
car
agree.
as well. So yeah,
Yeah,
and
it's a
that.
lot of fresh faces, which I'm excited about.
Hmm.
This it's I mean, we've had the same driver lineups practically, with like people switching and moving around for quite some time. So I think coming into the season and having, what was it, like six? This is six new faces, I think they said.
Yeah, I think it is 6. Yeah,
That's a lot.
it
It's so
is.
many steady drivers. So, like, six is a lot.
Yeah,
That's damn near half the field, like almost.
yeah. I mean, should we talk about the? I mean, your potential best signings of like the most exciting teams and signings of 2025 and also the potential biggest busts?
Well, biggest one is, of course, Lewis Hamilton to Ferrari. There's no
Yeah.
doubt about that. I think exciting also is Kimi to Mercedes. Um, hmm, Considering that, Oliver Berman, he didn't qualify, I think
Mhm.
maybe Haas is kind of like, eh, you know. I mean, but it is the first race of the season. So let's give him some grace.
I mean, didn't he?
Let's give him
I
some grace. It can happen.
I know it can happen, but I think he crashed. Did he crash in Q? Not in practice.
Yes, it did.
He
I'm
crashed
pretty
in
sure he did.
practice.
I might be wrong, but I'm
Um,
pretty sure he did. Because that was
yeah,
kind of like in
that
practice, I
was
was
it.
kind of like, okay,
Yeah. So he crashed in practice, which is why he had an issue with the reason why he didn't even like qualify is because he had gearbox problems. So to be fair, he's driving a Haas, and I mean
you're right.
Esteban
You're
Ocon,
absolutely right.
his teammate, I mean, is also way back there as well. But he had issues with his car because of the crash he had in practice, and they were trying to fix it and blah blah blah. And yeah, it's clearly something that was just
Never resolved.
never resolved.
Mm-hmm.
Let's hope he actually starts the Grand Prix. It'd be good for him to go around.
I agree.
Um, but yeah, no,
Um,
go on.
what do you think about Jack doing? I don't really know much about him, if I'm gonna be
I don't
honest.
know much about Jack doing either. Um, Let me see. Who's his teammate?
Pierre.
Pierre Gasly. I do like Pierre
Mhm.
Gasly. He's got his hair cut now for this season.
I mean,
Um,
um, the biggest signing of this season is probably Pierre's hairline. At this point, it's magically reappeared. I like it.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, Pierre Gasly. I've always liked Pierre Gasly.
me too.
Yeah, he's like a silent assassin in the sense
He
that
doesn't
he
say much.
he doesn't say much, but he's always doing something
Hmm.
that is worth commending. I don't think he's like a Daniel Ricciardo. Do you know what I mean? Like even though
No,
when Daniel
not at
Ricciardo was
all.
like in a Renault, like um he was doing bad. Do you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
But Pierre Gasly, he's the kind of person, from my perspective, he's always doing
Always
the most of
improving.
what he has.
Yeah,
This guy again, but he qualified what he was in Q3 in an Alpine.
yeah,
That's crazy. Pierre Gasly is actually a dark horse. And his teammate Jack Doohan was qualified 14th.
yeah.
Um, but again, he's a rookie. You know what I mean, so
That's, I mean, compared to some other
mhm.
rookies, I'd say he did quite well being the car that he's
Yeah,
in.
yeah, for sure. But
Yeah,
again, I think we're all kind of just learning about where the cars are, like how fast the cars are for real. Um,
yeah. They haven't even
yeah,
raced yet, so we have to keep
haven't
that in
erased it.
mind. Rain
Yeah,
is
it's
definitely a
hard to tell.
factor. Tires are going
Yeah.
to be a factor. If it doesn't rain, is it going to be hot? Is it going to be humid? All of that.
Mm.
So,
Apparently it's like
yeah.
32 degrees out there.
Is that in Fahrenheit or Celsius? Because I'm in America.
Oh, that's Celsius. So Fahrenheit, yeah, 32 degrees Celsius is what in Fahrenheit? What is that in?
uh, I don't even know. We don't even calculate that. Americans don't pay attention to Celsius. We just let our phones do the
Let me
job.
see. It's 89 Fahrenheit.
See, that's pretty high. But it's not the heat that'll kill you, it's the humidity.
Yeah, that's pretty.
That's what will kill you. So
Yeah,
it'll be
yeah.
interesting to see, first of all, is it gonna rain? How much is it gonna rain? How is that gonna affect the track, the cars, vision, all of that? Because at the end of the
Mm,
day, we don't
yeah.
really recognize the fact that they don't have like windshield wipers, guys. This is not a thing. Like
No, they don't. They
driving
just
in
got
the
that
rain.
freaking that thing they
Exactly.
have in there. Yeah,
That's it. And it's not, that at the end of the day, I think visibility can be an issue and it does, slow some people down. But we'll see who rises to the top. It'll be
yeah.
fun.
That's something always that
Interesting.
used to bother me in sports, rain.
Yeah.
Whatever sport you're playing, if it's outdoors, rain is for me
It's
is
a
never a
factor.
good thing. I used to play
Yeah.
American football. Did I tell you that?
I think you did. I think we talked about that in the past
No, yeah,
podcast. Yeah. And
yeah.
I was kind of like,
I
really?
hate that.
Really? How? In the land of football, the actual
Hmm.
football that you play with your foot.
Yep. Yeah. There are American football teams, but there's also like European teams and stuff. We're going off topic here, but let me tell you really quickly. So, um, basically, I in Europe, in places like Finland and Austria and Germany and all the places, they take it a bit more seriously, and you can get paid to play. In fact, a lot of people that played in the NFL and retired or didn't get into the NFL and didn't get into, do you know what I mean, the Canadian Football League, there's opportunities for them to play in Europe. Same as basketball. There's basketball teams in Europe.
A lot I
Um,
knew, but not about football. That's interesting.
yeah, and obviously it's a different. It's like semi-pro technically. And yeah, the money's significantly reduced in comparison to playing in the NFL. Um, but because of that, when you have a friend or something like that that has played in Europe and also lives in London, they end up bringing you into the world of American football, but
Hmm.
from the UK London
Hmm.
perspective. And then yeah, then it becomes your thing. You go to university, you start looking for, or you go to college, and you look for that the teams, and you create a team, and then that's what I became a part of a team in my university, and then you play with other university or college teams, much smaller scale, um, and no pay, just insurance that you hope works, and um, and then yeah, when I finish university, then you go back to the domestic leagues, and there's like a British team as well. There's like the London Lions. Um, is it London Lions or Great Britain? Yeah, the GB team. It's got like the lion on it. The Great Britain American football team, and they play against some European teams. Um, and some people that played for my team called London Blitz went to um, yeah, went and played for other teams in Europe and actually became really, really successful. One of the top running backs in Europe is someone that played for my team um, for a period of time. Um, Shout out Glenn Tunga. You can Google him right now. Glenn
I will.
Tunga. He's just yeah, he's a running back and he's an absolute beast. And in Europe, I think they've won like three championships. Um,
That is really interesting. I did not know
yeah,
that
yeah,
this was a
uh,
thing.
yeah. It's kind of like what people think when they think, oh, "How did you get into Formula One?" Like, well, you go to karting here and you go there. It's like, well, it's there's always like a little underground. You have to know that to know.
You're
Um,
right.
yeah,
Yeah, because I think we all have a different Formula One story. All of us.
yeah, yeah.
So you're absolutely right.
But yeah. So don't know how we got there, but
Oh, I see Glenn Tunga. Okay. Okay.
yeah,
Hmm.
he's a
I'm
boy.
impressed.
Uh, but yeah.
Yeah.
So here we are, back with Formula One now. Um, I just wanted to say that I'm really excited because this year feels like a year that anybody can affect the leaders of the pack. You know what I mean?
Pretty much. Especially
Yeah.
the six newcomers. I'd like to
Yep.
see. Have you seen the memes on Instagram about essentially there being so many newcomers and Australia is the first race and it's supposed to rain? Those are hilarious.
No, I ain't
Those
seen them.
those memes are hilarious. They're
Really?
comedy gold because it's kind of what you're thinking. What is going to happen? These are
Yeah.
people who have yet to compete at this level. They
Mm-hmm.
haven't had their first races yet. So
Yeah.
what's going to happen when you add rain as a factor to
Yeah.
speed and all those other people that have the experience, are trying to make moves that you're not familiar with? What happens
Yeah.
then? I
Yeah.
can't wait.
I can't wait for some of these rookies to go up against Verstappen.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? It's like, okay, cool, I'm moving through the pack. Okay, I'm moving through the
Okay,
pack. Oh.
all
And
right.
it's like, oh
He will
wait,
drop
did I
dead.
pass Verstappen? All right, great. Let's see if I can keep my position on track without him running me off the road.
Good
Um,
luck.
yeah, that's gonna be interesting.
Because,
Uh,
yeah, we've seen him in action. He will drive, literally, drive over your head.
yep.
Literally.
So that's gonna be interesting.
Yep.
Um, and oh, also something that just came to my mind. One of my best signings of this season, and one of
Hmm.
my I've said this already, maybe, but I really kind of want to reiterate the sleeper team of this year is Williams
I agree.
because
I do.
Carlos Sainz is not to be, you know what I mean, seen as a
Yeah,
small boy.
he's not.
And
And I think Alexander has had
yeah,
enough time over there to get quite
yeah,
familiar with this car, which makes me
yeah,
very excited because,
yeah,
like, let's think about the fact that he's coming from BWT, right? You remember when
yeah,
that car was pink,
yeah, yeah,
right? Back in the day. And
yeah.
all of the changes that have happened since then, it's
Hmm.
pretty substantial.
Yeah. Even when he went to Red Bull.
I
When
know.
when he was at Red Bull and it was like,
I
no, you're not
was
good enough.
so hopeful. I was like,
Yeah,
please, I
yeah.
beg of you, just settle in, get used to
Hmm.
it. But then, I thought about this the other day. Speaking of Red Bull, you know how much I love the Honey Badger. I love Danny Rick. I'm very sad he's not with us this season. However, do you think that from him jumping from team to team, it impacted his career to the point where now he's no longer racing? Does that make sense?
Who?
Daniel Ricciardo.
Um, do I think Daniel Ricciardo jumping from team to team is affected him? So
Hmm.
I don't. All right, so just this is just what's coming to my mind right now. I think there's something about when you're trying to appease, when you're using your talent to try and appease people, it eventually turns into a snowball effect that works against you. Um, as opposed to doing what a Max Verstappen does and uses his
Hmm.
talents to appease himself and what
Himself.
he believes in, and it's just like the champion or the best or the most respected or the I mean person that's put in the most or held in the most highest regard isn't necessarily the most um favorable amongst everyone around him.
This is true.
And everyone that speaks about Daniel Ricciardo talks about how lovely he is and how lovable he is,
Yeah.
and everyone loves Daniel Ricciardo, right? Um, but when he was doing his when he was doing before, it was like he built a name when he was at Red Bull.
Hmm.
Um, and correct me if what was his reasons for leaving Red Bull again? Do you remember?
I don't remember. I think it was the whole thing of them paying more attention to Max than him. I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure that was it. Like he didn't like the fact that, he had to play second fiddle to Max, which at the time I understood, but also at the time they were both kind of like new. But I think
yeah,
Daniel had been with Red Bull longer because
yeah,
remember, Jos Verstappen kind of has loyalty to no one. You know what I mean when it comes to
yeah,
who should sign his son. So I think
yeah,
that was his issue. Like I've been here since, junior team, and now all of a sudden you bring this guy in, and because he has, a dad who can talk a great game, now I'm being sidelined for this guy because he's the second coming of God knows what. That
yeah, yeah,
frustrated him. But at the same time, understanding that Max had just come to the team and they, clearly have to build a strategy around him. I think that maybe he should have given him a little time to figure it out. That's
yeah,
honestly
yeah,
what I think.
yeah,
But do I blame him for leaving? Yes and no. Yes, I think he could have given himself a
yeah,
little bit more time, but no, because I wasn't in a position, I can't say that. Going to
yeah,
McLaren, like at the time, I thought it was a good move. I'm not even going to front.
yeah,
I was like, if he's not happy, okay, fine. McLaren, there are worse teams to sign for. That's exactly what I
yeah,
said when I saw the alert pop up on my phone. I was like, there are worse teams to sign with.
mm,
He That's pretty good. Like, that's actually the best he could hope for at this point. Mercedes doesn't have a seat that's open. Ferrari doesn't. Like, who's he gonna go to? McLaren's
yeah,
the next best thing. And
Mhm.
at the time, I was like, this might work. But then the first season with him at McLaren, I was like, oh, this is not going to work. I think I knew right away.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
So for me,
yeah.
I think what's happened's happened, but at the same time, like he couldn't have predicted that outcome. No one could have.
It's like when it works, it's like a
It's magic.
perfect note. Do you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like perfect chord. Everything kind of just like harmonizes well together. And I think what I will say is little subtle things that ruin everything that I've been able to see that happens in Formula One is what happened with Lewis. Do you know what I mean? Like he was the guy at McLaren, and he went
Mm-hmm.
to Mercedes. And he was the guy for how many years?
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, it was like this car ain't really doing what I want it to do. And it's like no matter how much I try and take this thing and change that,
It's not
that
working.
ends up falling. Do you know what I mean? So it's like for me, I think that's what Ricardo had. And he tried to find instead of doing what Lewis Hamilton did, we stay with the one team and keep trying to make those tweaks
Mm-hmm.
and changes. Um, I think he was going from team to team to team trying to find the
That
Red Bull
spark.
feeling he had. Um, and it just never came his way. And also he didn't have the overseer support guy. Like like Lance Stroll should I'm not gonna say shouldn't be in the Formula One, but he should be worried about his seat
And
if you're
he is
looking at his
not.
performances. And he is not because of who his daddy is. And
His seat is safe, guys.
his,
Safe.
his this guy could qualify at the bottom of the pack for two more seasons, and he's still got a seat if
I
he, you know
agree.
what I mean, if he wants it. And so I think that's what Ricardo never had.
Uh-uh.
And yeah, man. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. You heard about they got a new team coming as well. Cadillac. Is it Cadillac?
Yes, I'm excited about that. I'm really excited.
Maybe that could be
Um,
Ricardo's new team.
because that's one thing because he's kind of like an honorary American at this point with his
Mhm.
actions in Austin and all those
Yeah.
outfits and stuff like that. So, but what I think I want to see one how this very American team is going to fit in to Formula One. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
I, and I'm not hating. I'm just saying it's new. It's like very fresh. This is
Mhm.
Cadillac, okay? Cadillac isn't like really known
Mhm.
for speed. I'm just
Yeah,
gonna put that out there.
yeah.
If it
Yeah.
was Ford, maybe I would say, oh,
Mhm.
but I still wouldn't
Mhm.
get it, because Ford has the
Yeah.
Mustang. But for Cadillac, these are luxury, cars, cars that are more, on the lower end of luxury to me.
Yeah.
They're,
Yeah.
usually focused on space and the interior design, and their designs are a little bit. Granted, I know this has nothing to do with an F1 car. I do,
Mhm.
but I want to see how they're gonna incorporate their, what do you call it, brand identity, as it were, into
Yeah.
this Formula One team. I'm very interested in seeing how they do that because I feel like Ferrari, Mercedes, even Aston Martin, even though Lance Stroll just did that the other day, you can see
Mhm.
Aston Martin having a Formula One team. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You can
Yeah.
see McLaren having a Formula One team. Cadillac, I was like, ah, didn't
Yeah.
see that coming, but I'm here for it.
I mean, yeah. It's a cool. I think the Cadillac brand is cool. Yeah, I mean, like I see Cadillacs in Ghana. You know what I mean, you go to Ghana, you see someone driving a
Yeah,
Cadillac. Um, so that's an interesting one. And it's such an iconic name.
it
And
is.
car. What other American brand car you know what I mean? Do you see like can you? Oh, they couldn't do that though with a Mustang.
I mean, why not?
I don't know. Is
If
it
Cadillac
Mustang
can do
more?
it, why can't Ford? Shit. As far as I'm
Yeah, but
concerned.
I
When
just
you think
yeah,
about it, Ford has more of a history and story in when it comes to automotive history.
yeah,
Henry Ford created the
yeah,
first
yeah,
assembly
true.
line. Do you see what I'm saying? So for
Yeah,
me, if Ford had said, you know what, I think we could do this, we should start a Formula One team, I'd have been like, you know what, by
yeah.
doggone it, you could do that. Cadillac, now I'm more like, hmm, oh,
What about like a
okay.
Chevrolet?
Nah. When I think Chevy, I think NASCAR.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, yeah,
I think NASCAR. I think for me, there's nothing like seeing, a Chevy stock car blaze down that
mm,
track. And I used to be a huge NASCAR fan back in the day before I realized there were more Confederate flags than anything else. And then I was kind of like, hold on,
yeah,
it might not, this might not be for me, considering at the time there was no black drivers.
yeah.
Oh, shout out to Bubba. But I I think American car brands for me signify NASCAR and stock racing and drag racing because that's where I've seen them presented. Um, More so, for example, when I think Subaru, I
Mhm.
think rally racing.
Yeah,
You know, this is just certain cars for me when because that's what I grew up seeing.
yeah,
Like so, yeah, I
yeah.
it's interesting, and we'll
Could be,
see
yeah,
because this is gonna be
yeah.
nice.
Either way, man. Either way.
How
It's
do you
yeah.
feel about some of the new regulations from the FIA?
Talk me through them again. What are the new
So
rules?
I think the one that stood out to me the most was the radio, the team
Radio.
radio
Oh, they can't
communication.
swear or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm driving around a track at 200 miles an hour
Mhm.
and taking my life and the people around me, their lives into their hands, I pretty sure the last thing I'm going to be thinking about is censoring myself in this
Yeah, yeah, for
death
sure.
machine
It's
flying
tough.
around the track.
Tough.
Why should I have to think about that?
But to be honest, you do have to press a button before you speak. Like
You're right.
you you can be like, do you know what I mean? Just chat your chat and then be like, all right, cool. Next time I press this button, I'm gonna say something to this person. And then press it and then da, 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 and then say it and then let go. You don't like it's not like it's on open airplay. Um so I don't know, man. I think I understand it. But it's funny though when they're so heavy on like no swearing and stuff, even in sports, even like football and stuff. I'm like,
Hmm.
I get it, but it doesn't really make sense because then you do a series like Drive to Survive and you got Toto and all these, you
I
know what I
know.
mean? And they're like, oh, that was shit. And I'm like, okay, well, it's it's less about the doing of it. It's more about how certain platforms feel about it. Then it's like, okay, how do I think that's just like it's just phony. Because everyone that's watching Sky or F1 TV or whatever is watching like 9 times out of 10, they're watching Netflix. This is Drive to
Yeah.
Survive. So what's the difference? It's like I think that's soft, but whatever in it is what it is. But what's the other regulations, the new regulations?
So they have, well, actually, a lot of them, the slander is probably unwarranted when it comes to the FIA with a lot of the regulations because a lot of them I can't see why we would be so up in arms about it. Like, for example, the minimum weight for the drivers has been raised by 2 kilos. I don't see how that's bad. I mean, it
Okay.
could be when you think about the weight of the car. Um, and
The minimum weight of the drivers.
yeah,
Okay.
their minimum weight has been raised by 2 kilos. So
Hold on, wait,
if
wait,
I'm
wait.
interpreting this right, if I'm interpreting this correctly, it means that the lowest weight that they could be, say, for example, if it was like, 75 kilos, so now it would
Yeah.
be 77. I'm assuming that that's, you know,
Are we talking about after the race? Because you know they say
yes,
they lose after the
yes,
race.
after the
That's
race.
that's harder to That's hard because then you're finding people. You know what I'm saying? But again, if in the past what they've been doing, and again, I don't know this to be entirely true. I don't know what they've been doing in the past, but if in the
Hmm.
past what they've been doing is they've been starving themselves or making themselves super duper duper light so that they can go into the race and, do you know what I mean, not affect the weight of the car too much and fly around the track. And it's been doing obviously more harm than good to the driver's
Yeah,
health. I get it. Um, but if if I'm just like in my normal weight right now and I drive around track and I'm drinking water and I'm driving around track and I end up becoming below the weight threshold, that's tough. But
this is true.
it's only 2 kg, is it 2 kilograms, right?
Yeah, 2 kilograms.
How much is
Which
two?
again, I'm not sure how many pounds that is, but yeah, y'all can
Yeah.
figure it out.
Yeah, that's not that much. I don't know. We'll see how
Also,
it plays out. I can see a fine coming with that though.
yeah, I can too. Also, there is more practice time for rookies. I think that's that's absolutely necessary
Yeah, man. They
for
need it.
this season. Absolutely necessary and
Mhm.
welcome. Yeah. Hmm.
Anything else?
Nothing, nothing else that really jumped out at me. I think that's the only one that I really had an issue with. I think pretty much that's the only one I kind of like. I was like, wait, what? Why is that even? That was kind of like, you remember when the jewelry rule came out with the whole not being able to
Oh
wear
yeah.
jewelry and stuff?
That was
It's
a
kind of
Lewis
like that
Hamilton rule.
one. Yeah, that was one of the
Yeah.
ones that had jumped out at me, and I was like, why is this even a thing? Like, how did this even come up? Like, who sat around the table and had this conversation about this
Yeah.
arbitrary thing that clearly means nothing to nothing? But okay, let's go off.
Yeah.
Let's all be up in arms about the fact that, jewelry is a thing when we know exactly who we're targeting here. But all right,
Mm, yeah.
it's okay. I digress. Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, man. I mean, hey, we got a Grand Prix tomorrow. I mean,
Yes, we do.
technically, it's
In a few hours.
yeah, it would
Let's
be
do the countdown.
13 hours from now
The final countdown.
or
I'm
12,
excited.
12 hours and 20 minutes, I think, something like
Yes,
that.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, I'm nervous.
Have you watched all of Drive to Survive? We haven't talked about
No,
that.
I don't actually watch Drive to Survive. It's funny, I've been talking about it so much. I don't actually watch it. You know what? And I'll tell you why I haven't watched it because every time a new season comes out, I know it's gonna be reminding me of a season I hated.
Yeah, yeah,
I like, I don't feel like
yes.
being reminded of a season where Lewis Hamilton couldn't qualify. I mean, faster than George Russell. I
Mm.
don't feel like watching an. I mean, um, a season where Red Bull are dominating and watching. I mean, Christian Horner. Talk, I don't feel like it.
You're
And
right.
watching everyone get. I mean, I think that's the reason. So what I will say is this: if Ferrari, I mean, the Ferrari element is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Because Lewis
It
Hamilton
was.
obviously decided to join Ferrari before the last season began. But
Hmm.
um, if this season goes really well, and it's not a one horse race, um, I'll watch Drivers to Survive next season. But
Okay.
yeah,
All right.
but yeah, ever
No, you're
since
right. It's
yeah,
painful watching it.
it's just like I'm not trying. I don't. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I'm a Lewis Hamilton fan. If Lewis Hamilton goes to kick Sauber, I'm a kick Sauber Lewis Hamilton fan. Do you know what I mean?
You're
Like,
right.
and Lewis Hamilton hasn't been the Lewis Hamilton of old for a very long time.
Quite some time.
So
When's
yeah,
the
I
last
guess
time he won a championship? I have
uh,
forgotten.
it's the one before Verstappen stole it from him.
I mean, I don't think Max was completely responsible. I'm just
Well,
gonna throw
Red
that out
Bull
there.
before Red Bull um, um, robbed Lewis Hamilton of his eighth championship.
You don't think Michael Massey had anything to do with that?
I think they're all in cahoots. I think they're
Okay,
all the same,
I'm glad we agree.
all the same white boys. All the
I'm
same.
glad we agree because
Yeah,
yeah,
like,
I'm glad we agree. It was.
Do you
It
ever
was
like?
diabolical to say the least.
Do you ever watch like the press conferences and stuff like where they like have the reverse angle? So you see Lewis Hamilton, you see all the other race drivers, you see like the interviewer, but then you have like there was like a camera flip where you can see the people holding the cameras, the people asking the
Mm-hmm.
questions, and it's like, oh
Mm-hmm.
shoot, no, Lewis Hamilton is really on his own.
Yeah, there's like
This
literally
guy,
no one here that looks like him.
there's literally no one that
Speaking
looks
of
like him.
which, the one face that I used to look forward to when watching Drive to Survive in the Red Bull pit, like really look forward to him, was Callum, the engineer, the black
Hmm.
engineer with the
Oh yeah,
dreads.
yeah, yeah, with the dreads, yeah.
And I think it was like a week and a half ago, like something popped up on my phone saying that Callum is no longer with Red Bull anymore. So he's like within in the pit. Apparently he's some like I guess ambassador or something. Which I can see it. You know,
Yeah,
he wrote a book. He's doing different things. But I'm gonna say that not seeing him this season in that pit is gonna be kind of surreal for me because he's been there for so long. I've gotten so comfortable seeing his face. It was another black face, in the
mm,
paddock, and now it's completely gone. So that in and of itself is a little jarring for me because I was
yeah,
like, well, damn.
yeah,
So
yeah,
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 he's completely on his own. Like I'm watching qualifying earlier, and I'm noticing that his dad, him and his dad, like that's it.
yeah, yeah.
That's it. Sir Anthony and Sir
Uh,
Lewis.
just like the old days. Um, all right, cool. Really quickly because I'm curious to know, how do you think this race tomorrow is ending? What's your predictions?
Predictions. So if we're going by last season, if we're
Hmm.
going by qualifying, I think McLaren, you know, is going to answer a few questions, definitely, in the next, 13, 12 hours. I think
Hmm.
besides that, Red Bull definitely is going to answer back. I'm not real positive about where that leaves um, Ferrari because I think Mercedes also, I think George has a lot to prove. And he's going to start by doing that. He's going to really try to do that. And we're going to see whether or not he's going to fold under the pressure or he's going to make some very good decisions. Because even there was an episode of Drive to Survive where they basically focus on him stepping up for the team, stepping up for Mercedes, and the fact that he kind of made decisions to stay out when they thought he should have came in, and he ends up winning that GP, but at the same time getting disqualified because of I think it was a weight issue.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so I think he's not gonna just sit back and allow, especially Lewis, to run laps around him, considering
Yeah,
what's transpired in the last few seasons. I
yeah.
think that's not gonna happen. So I think we basically know or have an idea what the front of the field looks like. I think back of the field is probably gonna look pretty much a little similar to last year. That's fine.
Okay, okay.
Um,
Let me see
uh,
this.
I think drivers like Stroll are gonna, do what they do. Um,
Hmm.
uh, Pretty much. One thing I think Alex is gonna be up a lot higher in the standings. I think also because Williams they're doing, I think, pretty good when it comes to um, strategy in terms of what they're doing with the car. I don't know about on track strategy, not that, but the developments that they're trying to, make with the car. I think they're gonna make it so that both Carlos and Alex are really competitive. So I'm looking forward to that as well. But yeah, that's besides that, I don't know. I'm looking forward to seeing six rookies join, some of these vets, seeing how that shapes
Yeah.
up. You
No,
throw
no thoughts
toddlers
on
in the mix.
Ferrari.
I'm sorry?
No thoughts on Ferrari.
Yeah, I have a lot of thoughts on Ferrari. My thoughts on Ferrari are as follows. They have no strategy as far as I'm concerned. Ferrari,
Mm,
or if they do, only Ferrari knows what Ferrari's strategy is. Okay?
mm,
Might be a good
okay.
thing, might not. And I
Yeah.
think if as long as the car does what it's supposed to do. It doesn't explode in a ball of flames,
Hmm.
like it's done in prior seasons, i.e. Carlos. Okay.
Yeah.
As long as that doesn't happen, as long as all things are considered, as long as them six rookies stay out of the way, I really think that for this first race, we might see a little bit of magic. And not him pressing that button either. I'm not talking about that.
Okay.
Press that magic button and overshot. Like I'm not talking about. I think we might see a little bit of magic. We also might get clear indications of what each driver, like how they're going to be supported on track, with it being St. Charles and Sir Louis. So yeah, I
Mm.
have high hopes for them. I'm not saying that that's going to happen. I'm just saying all my fingers, my toes, and my eyes are crossed at this point. That's it.
Okay. All right. That's diplomatic. I like it.
Mhm.
All right, cool. My predictions are quite simple. If McLaren and Verstappen keep it safe and sane,
Mhm.
they will be first, second, and third.
Right.
But however, if they start messing about, do you know what I mean, running each other off track, that's when we have a race that anyone can win.
I agree.
Um, and I think George Russell, as well-meaning as he is, just can't help but shoot himself in the foot. So he's either gonna finish like fifth or sixth. I don't see him finishing. Uh, if he does get a podium finish, as third. Um, and this is granted if Verstappen and Norris and Oscar end up, I mean, ruining it for themselves because yeah, they can't create a big enough lead, or they can't just, you know what I mean, drive safe enough.
Mhm.
Then yeah, I don't think Russell is going to be a problem. I think Russell struggles um, to do to finish his food when it's right there in front of him.
I
Um,
agree.
I think the real big players um, will be the Williams. Um, as crazy as that sounds, um, and even like a Yuki Tsunoda, it's going to be anyone's
Mhm.
race. That's what makes this quite interesting. I think Charles Leclerc is a bigger threat than Lewis Hamilton right now. But I think if they, yeah, like I said, one, two, three, McLaren, Verstappen at some in some order. I'm not gonna say which order, but if one of those two teams, if it's Leclerc, not Leclerc, if it's Lando Norris, Oscar Piastri, or Verstappen, if they crash out or do a madness, then that's when you'll get Leclerc in the mix. That's when you'll get the Alex Albon in the mix. That's when you'll get
Mhm.
the George Russell in the mix also. But I think George Russell will not win this Grand Prix. I just don't think it's possible. Um, and
Watch next week. We're back, and you're like, well, guess I was wrong.
I just have no faith in George Russell. Um, yeah, I just have no faith in George Russell. I could be wrong
You
though.
know, you know what's funny? I think I'm with you. I think I have more faith in him, like not not finishing
Yeah,
than anything else.
yeah.
I
I'm being
honestly,
nice saying I'm
yeah,
saying bronze.
for
I'm
real.
being nice.
I was a little surprised because I was like, "You being real generous right now."
Yeah,
Chances are, knowing old Georgie boy, there's a
yeah,
strong possibility he might get a little pissed off and like overshoot the mark as usual, and
yeah,
do some stupid crap,
yeah,
and he doesn't finish the race. So you were
yeah,
being very gracious.
yeah. Yeah. After that, beyond that point,
The free fall,
look,
really.
Lewis Hamilton. I think what I was about Lewis Hamilton is, regardless of what he does in qualifying, that guy just knows how to finish races
Thank you.
and get the most out of it. 9 times out of 10. Sometimes it
Thank
goes
you.
wrong. You're like, what the hell? But nine times out of ten, you look back and be like, okay, Lewis Hamilton did everything he could.
Hmm.
And he had a respectable finish. Um, and he seems to get along with his team right now. So I do see him finishing at least sixth. I don't see him moving too far back.
I think that's what I'm hoping for. I'm
Yeah,
hoping that, qualifying in this position, usually I find with Lewis, it doesn't really matter what the qualifying heats look
yeah,
like. It's kind of, what happens, especially on that first lap when they go out.
yeah,
Um, and I'm interested to see what the start looks like tomorrow. Um,
yeah,
especially especially if Lando has a good start because I like when Lando has a good start because I'm a McLaren fan. You know,
yeah,
just because I've said this before, I am a Lewis Hamilton fan. Yes, I
mhm,
am. I'm black, so there you
yeah,
start right there.
yeah,
However, I'm a F1 fan, and I have loved McLaren for a long time.
yeah,
I've loved, the history of McLaren. So I think for me, Lando winning last year wasn't as, I don't feel as, sick about it as Red Bull winning. So I
yeah,
was like, yeah, it's not so bad. But I'm kind
yeah,
of tired of, him, Sir Lewis, having to do the best with what he has. Why can't it just be the best? I'm sick of that. Sick of hearing, the fact that the car isn't what it needs to be and he's frustrated. I think if he has the proper tools, he can deliver. And
mhm,
hopefully this is that.
yep, yep. Hopefully, and yeah, yeah. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. I don't. Yeah. Two Ferraris behind. What was it? Second. It's the Racing Bull team with Yuki Tsunoda. Um, behind the Williams. They got to pass those two. They've got to.
Pretty much.
They've got to pass those two.
Pretty much.
And then the rest is strategy again. Like the rest is like about, do you know what I mean, who's what tires and how long they can make certain tires stretch
That
out,
part.
and when people pit stop, and do you know what I mean. Um, yeah, Lewis Hamilton's got a good teammate, man. He's got a good teammate,
Hmm.
Charles Leclerc. I don't know what the rookies are saying, but I hope to see Antonelli move up the field. Antonelli's got to move up the field. Got to.
I'm really hoping that's the case because okay, if I'm gonna be for real right now, all right,
Mhm.
let's see what the midfield look like, right? You have
Liam Lawson staying back there. Liam Lawson is not getting further up the field than 10th.
I'm glad we feel the same way.
Yeah.
But and I think this is why I was like, why did Fernando qualify so low? But then I didn't watch, so I can't, I didn't watch the whole thing. I only watched maybe like a half an hour. That's all my TV gave me. But the fact that you have Jack doing,
Mhm.
Bortoleto, Kimmy, then right behind that, I don't want to put Nico in that. I don't want to put Hulkenberg in that, but you have Liam Lawson and then you have Oliver Bierman, right? That's a lot that can happen in that backfield
Yeah.
during that first turn at Albert Park. There's a
Yeah.
lot that can happen.
I'm watching everybody. I never watch everyone, but
Me
this
neither.
I'm watching everyone. I'm like, okay,
Pretty much.
where's Kimmy and where's even Hulkenberg? Hulkenberg is last. He's a boss. He's a boss. Um, Alonso, Stroll. Yeah.
Disappointed that Nico is behind Lance Stroll. Like, really?
I mean, Aston Martin got money in it.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know what they've got going on in that car, but no, I think the reason why Kimi and Antonelli's back there is because I think it was just bad timing, traffic, I believe. After that, I did watch the qualifying, but I watched this morning.
Because he
Um,
only had 9 runs, right? Yeah, it was just 9 runs.
yeah, yeah,
So when you think about it, it's really not a lot when everybody else has like 20 and 21.
yeah, but
So you really didn't have time to do much. And then you think about it, uh, who else? Who else didn't have much time? Fernando Alonso only did 13 laps. Should tell you a lot.
Yeah.
Well, then if you're looking at that, then Lewis had 23.
But I think it
He had
also
the most
depends on
out of
like what
everybody.
qualifying they went through on in it. So if
Okay.
you only did one qualifying, you'll have less laps. But yeah, yeah.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah, let's see what happens. Let's see who's managing their tires correctly as well, 'cause that's Lewis Hamilton's thing. Um, but yeah, it's good to do this again, you know.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
I'm looking
Thoroughly
for
enjoyed it.
We might as well do it again tomorrow after the race.
I agree. I
Oh, come
agree. I
on.
will be sending, oh my gosh, I'm gonna send you a video, right? So I don't know if you've seen the intro to the F1 season, like when they're introducing the drivers or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
What the hell? So nobody, everybody's like, doing a
yeah.
George Russell. What was that? Like, I'm gonna send you
George,
this.
I'm telling you, when Lewis Hamilton was with Mercedes, he made it look cool. Like George is the most no flair, no flair dude ever.
I swear, all I saw was that video when Michael Jackson had on that white shirt, like that white sheer shirt. He was like this. And I was like, look at George. What is George doing? Like, no one at all is doing this,
Yeah.
George.
No, yeah, George.
Nobody.
I'm sure they.
Rochelle.
I'm sure the person that filmed it was like, "Do you want to do something else?" And he was like, "No, no, I want to. I'll stick with that because that'd be different. Do you want to watch it back? Yeah, I'll watch it back." They played it back, and he's like, "Yep, that's what I'm meant to do." All right, George. If you
You
say
went with,
so.
that's the take. You went with Georgie.
Yeah,
What
George is crazy.
were you thinking? I was like, this is how we start? No, no. I kept rewinding it because I was like, nah. This is
Yeah,
hilarious. No one at all. George
yeah.
Russell. I was like,
Oh,
you are not Cristiano Ronaldo.
did you see you see Lewis Hamilton's what was it again? He did I'm gonna have to find it. Where'd it be? Where would it be? Where would it be? Uh, bear with me, hold on. But Lewis Hamilton did this thing, man. What was it called? Oh my
Are
God.
you talking about the Ferris Bueller Day Off thing?
That's what I'm talking about.
Oh my God. 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 Like, oh my God. Because this is where my life like intersect. Movies
Yeah,
and Formula One. This is all I talk about is movies,
yeah.
television shows, and Formula One. Listen, that made my entire life. I was like, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. And what's
Yeah.
crazy is even my cousin, who does not watch Formula One, the only thing she knows about Formula One is what I've told her, okay? My
Hmm.
cousin was like, that's actually pretty dope because
Yeah.
when I was growing up, that was one of my favorite movies of all time. That and 16 Candles. I was huge on those, like, 80s,
Mhm.
rom-coms, whatever, and
Yeah.
The Breakfast Club. But Ferris Bueller's Day Off, I used to go around saying Bueller, Bueller, Bueller in my house all day, and it used to irritate the shit out of my family. Okay. So seeing
Okay.
this made my entire life. It was like my two worlds coinciding just
That's so dope.
magically.
That is
I
so
was
dope.
here for all of it. I loved it.
Yeah. And I
I loved
think
it.
it was good to see Lewis Hamilton like really, you know what I mean, act.
Excited.
Like he was like acting.
Like
He did
Edward
it.
Norton, like come on. You
He
could
was
not have
doing a whole
asked for
straight
better.
face, and he was like,
Uh,
he had a straight face. He was like, I was like, yo, Lewis,
uh, I
this guy,
loved it.
he's super cool, man, super duper cool, and that's
I know.
yeah, it's something George Russell will never have. I
Please
love it.
listen,
Yeah.
listen. When I saw that, I was like, see, this is what I'm talking about. I feel reinvigorated. I feel like he is so excited about it. He's just willing to kind of embrace all of it. Because I was even I was questioning the whole aspect of his wardrobe with him, showing up in team kit and thinking, okay, well, maybe we're not gonna get, fashionable moments, this year. It's just gonna be regular and it's fine. Let's settle in, see what happens. And then, and he does
Cool.
like the walk down the Melbourne Strip. It's kind of like, no. I'm still here, bitches, and I'm still me. Like so,
I haven't
I
actually
like it.
seen that.
The mailroom walk. It's
No.
kind of they brought it back this year, but I think he was in like this I think it was a black outfit. I can't really remember because I saw it on YouTube. I didn't actually watch the walk, but I saw like, I like to see when they come in and see what's going on and all that. But yeah, he didn't come in, team kit. He came in regular clothes, and I was like, oh, so we're gonna get, different versions this year. I'm here for it. He doesn't
Yeah,
have to kind of, be a character of himself because I feel like at Mercedes at some point it was kind of like his popularity, it kind of overtook
yeah,
the mission of why, especially after the pandemic and everything that happened with Black Lives Matter and all that. I feel like he kind of had to, you know, take on a stronger image outside of the team, which
yeah,
kind of probably created a lot more strife than people are willing to admit,
yeah,
if
yeah.
I'm being honest.
Yeah, but it was necessary, man. Everyone's taking
It
the knee
was
and stuff, and they changed the color of the car because of that. Like when the
the
Mercedes was
helmet
black, the black Mercedes was the hardest Mercedes. I don't care.
fire.
They haven't gone back to it. Now they're
Fire.
trying to be black and silver, silver, black.
No,
I'm like, yeah.
no,
That black Mercedes was when they were actually like, oh, these guys are on fire. Uh,
exactly. I
and
agree.
but hey, but then obviously they couldn't make that team win. What the Black Lives Matter, that team can't win. But I don't know. We've crossed that bridge. We've gone from black to red. So
Yes, we have. Yes, we have.
shout out
And
Lewis
Red,
Hamilton.
I'm a huge fan. Like I'm a huge fan. The
Yeah,
little, skits that he's done with Charles. They did one, I can't remember. It was like some commercial when they were kind of like on a mountainside, and it, it was very endearing because it was both of them in the commercial, and I was like, this is kind of cool. Like I appreciate seeing them together, kind of interacting in that way. I think it
yeah,
was about Charles essentially sending him a welcome gift or something like that.
yeah.
And it had to do with beverages. I don't quite remember which one.
Uh-huh.
Excuse me.
That's sure.
That was a sneeze. In Jamaica, we'd say, I'm not lying. That's what that means. I'm
Okay.
not lying. But
Okay.
yeah, I think I appreciate the fact that Ferrari is kind of embracing the popularity and leaning into it. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Lewis Hamilton's star doesn't overshine because
No.
Ferrari is the biggest team, and now they've got
Exactly.
the big. Yeah, I mean, it's like so, it suits.
Oh,
It suits. So, but yeah, bring on tomorrow, which is like
yes,
it's
yes,
about to be this time, 12 hours from now.
yes. So
Um,
we should we should definitely get back and talk about the race after. And yeah, I can stop recording right now. Wait. Let's do an outro before
all
we
right, cool.
stop. Go ahead. I'll cut
Well,
this part out.
I've
Start
did
it.
I've did an outro.
Yes.
Oh my gosh! All right, cool. All right, so bam, boom, we're looking you right in the camera. We're back. Um, I go by the name of Benny Sarpong. This lady is called,
Rochelle Diaghilar,
and we together make.
Benny and Rochelle React.
There you
F1
go.
2025. We back.
There you go. There you
Yes, sir.
go. Like,
Yes, sir.
follow, subscribe, all that stuff. We're going to be giving you our viewpoints on every race, all the qualifying bits this season. So yeah, if you love Formula One, and you're excited about this season and the seasons to come, then yeah, stay tuned and yeah, drop comments and we'll respond to that too. And yeah, let's go.